Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the Road to the ProcureTech Cup for 2024-2025 season. Really happy to have you here. It's Joël Conin-Demers here again this week, consulting principal at PureProcurement.ca and editor at the Pure Procurement newsletter. I'm joined this week by Globality, that's going to demonstrate their autonomous sourcing solution. So very excited about that, right? We're on the road to the ProcureTech Cup. And as you see on screen here, we've had source to pay solutions so far. We've had master data management, cleansing, governance solutions, and even e-sourcing solutions. So we're continuing the journey on the road to the ProcureTech Cup. We've got 20 more demos planned every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and then in March next year, the ProcureTech Cup tournament. And so I'm really glad to welcome here Paul with me. Thanks so much for being here, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
And so, Paul, you're responsible for customer success for Globality out of EMEA, I believe.
I am, yeah. So I joined about 5 years ago to launch our first client over here, and then set up the team and continue to roll out to other clients as well.
Beautiful. So we're really happy to have you with us on the show. And just for everybody watching, the agenda today. So Paul's going to give us an overview of Globality, what they're all about, their unique value proposition. Their ideal customer profile, right? So who's a fit for the solution? And then we'll dive straight into a solution demo to see how we can automate sourcing 100%, which is always exciting. And then we'll map it to the Pure Procurement ProcureTech market map, just as we do every week, so you can see, Globality, where does it fit into the larger procurement value chain and the potential for you to use it within your business. Sounds good?
Let's do it.
All right, so I will bring your slides up, Paul. I'll let you go.
So quick introduction then for anyone who doesn't know Globality. We launched 9 years ago out of Silicon Valley with the aim of transforming the way that companies buy. And since then, we've been rolling out and launching with the biggest, most complex customers in the world. They've been launching our platform in the aim of achieving and having achieved some of these things. So they're looking to double-digit savings is number one, and then that's pretty clear for everybody at the moment is pushing to do that. We see that across the board with our clients. The other thing that we see is a huge reduction in the sourcing effort. So I'm going to show you an example of how that works in a second, which is by having Glow automate a lot of these tasks. That really allows our clients to source 2 times, 3 times as much as they used to in the past. They also improve the supplier outcomes. So by scoping and categorizing what you want better, it helps the supplier to deliver exactly what you need. You don't overbuy, and you can be really clear about what you want from the outset. So we see improved outcomes as well. Most of our clients are pushing for ESG or D&I goals, and the way that they source is fundamental to achieving those. And that's built into the process, so that Glow guides the user through a process that allows them to find suppliers who achieve that. So I'll show examples of that as well. And then finally, for all of us in procurement, it's really important that we collaborate with all our stakeholders in an easy way as possible. So we designed a platform that's super easy to use, that your business users and suppliers love. And that's critical to the way that we've designed it, is the collaboration between everyone on platform drives the efficiency. So these are the things that clients look for in us. If those or any of those are aligned to your own goals this year, then we'll be able to help you. The way that we do it is through Glow. So Glow is the artificial intelligence who becomes the newest member of your procurement team. When we launch, this is how we launch Glow. We introduce everyone in the organization to her as such. And that way they can go and have a conversation with Glow at any point when they need to get something. Typically what we say is, if it's in the catalog, buy it from the catalog. Anything else, talk to Glow. So from day one, you're going to have a new category expert in the team, but a category expert that can launch 100 tenders each day and manages billions of dollars to spend each month, and allows you to scale that knowledge. So you're going to see a conversation between Glow and the user that helps them to think critically about what they're buying and automatically creates the RFX for them. And that's built off all the category expertise that we've built into the platform and that Glow learns from as it interacts with all of our clients. Alongside that,
sorry to interrupt you. I was wondering, when you say like if it's in the catalog, buy it from the catalog and source it if it's not. When you refer to catalog, is it punch out catalogs, hosted catalogs, or you're also talking about like material masters in your back end?
Yeah, if it's anything where you've already agreed a price and you want to buy down quantity, then actually probably you don't need to go through Glow. We've set up structures that allow users throughout the business for any of those options to go and buy direct. The way I would describe it is anything where you need a response from the vendor before you buy should go through Glow. So that might be sourcing something completely new, but it might be buying within a master service framework, but you just need to articulate what you want better and compete it within the framework rather than sole sourcing. So that's how I distinguish it. Anything where the vendor is going to respond with a price or a quote or something before you would buy it.
Okay, cool.
Once we launch, we train Glow in all of your suppliers, all of your policies, and all of your process. And that's because it's the newest member of your procurement team. It becomes the guide for your stakeholders and your end users, and it guides them through the process that you want to see them guided through. And I'll show an example of that on the demo. But really what we're doing here is we're applying the procurement rigor that you do to your most complex, challenging tenders through to every single requirement that you run, using the category expertise, using the negotiation intelligence, and using your own rules, your own process to guide the business through it. As it happens, it starts with the sourcing intake. You have a quick conversation with Glow, who decides what journey you should take and guides you down it. Then you can invite team members to collaborate on that as you go. Glow will scope it for you and create the RFX document to go out to the vendors, and then it matches you to the right vendors as well. So this could be from your existing network. We have a network you can choose to use as well. As the proposals come back, Glow is going to analyze them all for you, come up with the insights, come up with the analysis, and help you to do that negotiation. Glow can actually launch the negotiation for you as well. And then you'll get to the point of awarding. So we're automating all of these steps, and then we integrate downstream. So creating the PR, SOW, whatever it might be. Within that, you've got all of your category rules, all of your workflows, the data and analytics as well, that allows us to achieve this vision. So I'll show you a journey of this on the platform. And then finally, a note about our customers. So who's the right fit for us? I think when we launched, we had really focused on customers with high levels of indirects, financial services, pharmaceuticals were real key areas that we started with, but we've really expanded to everything now, both sourcing everything. So BT, for example, is an example of a customer who does more directs than they do indirects on our platform, but also across all industries, as you can see. So really anyone with a lot of complex spend that they want to deal with, or a lot of tail spend that they're looking to automate, can find the platform really useful.
And I would imagine that the bigger the spend that's not optimized or that hasn't been looked at, the bigger the potential benefits, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I've logged into the platform. I'm on the home screen, and of course, the first problem is that we've got to overcome as an organization is when you need to buy something. How do you buy it? How do you go through? What's the process? Who can you work with? And we have the intake flow that guides you through that process. So you're met by Glow. Glow takes you and has a quick conversation with you about what you want to buy and uses that to categorize it, understand it, and then take you through the process. So you can see here, I'll start a project. When we launched Glow, you had a conversation with Glow and described what you wanted to buy. What we've found now is that most people have a document that they want to upload, and they can just come and upload that to the platform. Glow's going to read through that document and come out with the content from it, and then use that to guide the process. So
do I have to log into Globality to be able to chat with Glow today?
Yeah, so at the moment you log in, and that's what we typically see across all our organizations. There's no limit to licensing or anything like that. Anyone can come in and have a conversation. We can also pre-populate this from an intake tool. So if you have somewhere that you're capturing the information already, we can pre-populate this using a Create Project API that we use. But typically people log in and have a conversation as well. It will read documents you've got. So this is an example of a Teams transcript where I had a conversation with the stakeholder. I turned transcription on. I'm now just uploading it to Globality. Glow's going to analyze that file and pull out the content for me in order to populate the answers. You don't need to do this because you can just have a conversation, but often people will have documents that they've been using and things in mind. So you can see here, it's populating underneath the suggestion from the content that I just uploaded. So we're running a transfer pricing advisory tender to support us here.
So this could be like a scoping document, or even I guess like you're starting off with a single supplier quote. You could use that as well.
Yeah, you could use that. You could use a previous contract. You could use a project initiation document. You could any notes, anything that you've got beforehand. Typically, we recommend people don't create RFPs and put them in because that's the process that you're entering. But really, anything that you've got that Glow can analyze and use to create the content, you can upload. Yeah. Glow will then suggest the type of sourcing route that you need to take. So for this one, I have to do a run RFP. And then we'll capture a few more bits of information about what we're sourcing. So it's already put a categorization on it in terms of what we're buying and outlined the areas where we want the supplier to have experience, so the geographical areas. It'll also capture key dates. So when do we need the service by? When do I want them to have a submission by? And then outline what are our industries as well. You can customize the flow, put any of your questions in there that you want to. And typically people use that in order to apply their own sourcing rules. So it gets directed to the right person, or it applies the category strategy automatically. But you can also use this for capturing information which is going to go downstream into the PR. And it'll also here outline how we're going to rate them. So that is the intake that your users will go through. They have a 2-minute conversation with Glow. Glow analyzes the content that we've put in there and then creates the approach for sourcing. So you can see here it configures the brief, and we've got 4 sections here. So scope, line items, proposal requirements, and pricing requirements. You can customize these and be in control of what you want the user to add for each one. So let's start the scope. What Glow does is comes up with a list of questions that are relevant for transfer pricing in this case, or whatever you're sourcing, but also pre-populates them with answers from the content that I've given. So here it's creating that RFX scope for me and populating the answers as well. So I would think of this as replacing the conversation that procurement typically has with the business, where you say, have you really thought through your requirement? Do you know what you want to buy? And as you go through this conversation, Glow's not just asking the questions, it's suggesting answers from other people, from content it's got around what typical content they'll need to know in order to price up this type of work. So you can see here, what are the key compliance challenges we're looking to complete? And it's got suggestions for the answer as well. So rather than your stakeholders starting with a blank sheet of paper and having to describe what they want, which is often quite difficult, Glow prompts them with the question and suggests the right answers for them as well, in terms of coming up with a real strong description of what you want them to do on this piece of work.
And I would imagine, like, you know, you referred to the business rules earlier. So, like, if I'm implementing this type of tool, I imagine it like let's very simply as a matrix where, you know, I may have countries, I may have different types of sourcing processes or different types of steps that I want to do based on the categories or different rules like that. So that's the type of work that's more logical work, business process work that I need to do before I'm able to get the full experience from Glow.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can set up your own rules as well if you want, and it will guide you through, and it will apply category strategy elements like who can you work with, what's the competition strategy for this. But certainly this Q&A comes from day one. That comes as standard, right? Questions. You can customize them and add ones in if you want, but you're buying a product that comes with that category knowledge built in from day one.
Oh, that's cool. So you're suggesting like best practice templates for sourcing. So I can get it as sophisticated as I want to, but to your point, I can onboard rapidly without having to put all that work in up front.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once you've written the scope, Glow will then take you through the next steps you need to go. I'm going to skip line items. Line items will pre-populate with anything you need priced up, but for this one, I will skip that option. and go to the proposal requirements. This is outlining a template for the vendors to complete when they respond. So what information do I want to see from them? And also what questionnaires do I need them to answer? So given that I'm operating out of Europe, Glow's automatically applied the GDPR questionnaire. This is based off the rules that Procurement have set up. It will give them this view here as a supplier of what to complete. So a really easy questionnaire that's automatically applied so your business user doesn't need to think about it. There's also a section library of best practice questionnaires that you can use as well. So we're sharing knowledge across the organization as terms of best practice. Next up, pricing. So the pricing on platform, there's two options. You can use pricing that is built into the platform. So simple RFQs, tail spend, you can use a really simple view on platform. So I'll preview it. It looks like this. It's really easy for the suppliers to fill out and easy for you to launch. If you're doing more complex pricing, I'd recommend using the templates. Glow comes with a library of best practice pricing templates. You can select the relevant one. Glow will analyze these, combine them, give you an unbundled breakdown of the line items and a negotiation script. So certainly for more complex things, I recommend using those pricing templates. We've now in the last few minutes created the RFX and we're ready to find the best providers for doing this work and launch it. When we click find providers, it searches your network and where you choose to use our network as well. It's all based off Glow's knowledge of what they deliver and your rules. So you can see here, there's a fit score in terms of Glow's knowledge of how good they would be at doing this specific requirement. But we're combining that with your own data set. So do you have a contract with them? Are they a registered supplier of yours? And what's the sourcing strategy for this category? So this says you must invite a minimum of 3. It applies that automatically based off category, geography, threshold, whatever it might be.
And can I ask, like, where you're sourcing the suppliers that are in the network? Is it just, you know, through the network effect of having your customers on the solution, or are you pulling in from other sources?
So we used to have a team that would go out and build the network ourselves. It was an invite-only network. Now, it because we've got to a scale now, it builds naturally, right? So we have a huge network that's building because obviously clients come on board and suppliers hear about the platform as well. So yeah, it's a combination of the two. And then we do specific bits in the network around badging them up for D&I and then creating them profiles as well. So we scrape automatically all the knowledge from the internet about this specific vendor and we put it on their profile so you can see the relevant case studies, etc. Replaces the need to do market intelligence on those suppliers because Glow will do all that for you.
And given it's like a proprietary network, what's this order of magnitude, right? I don't want to quiz you on the specific number because that might be too specific a question, but I'm just trying to get a sense for the number of vendors you have in that network.
Yeah, I mean, on the platform overall is hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
And then our network is slightly smaller than that because not all of the vendors are available to everyone. Some of them are specific to clients. But that gives you a feel for how many people are operating on
yeah, order of magnitude, right? That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Once you've seen them, you then invite them. So this point here is really about encouraging the user to complete more work without procurement necessarily needing to be involved. Some of our clients won't have procurement involved at all on low value tail spend. As long as they follow your rules, the business can go through it themselves. Others will say, this is the point where I want to be involved. So at the point when you invite them, you get the invitees and the NDA. I can send this invite out, but depending on procurement's rules, that can go to an approval queue for procurement to check the quality of the brief, who you're sharing it with, and then to take over and manage the negotiation.
And I would imagine you could put business rules on, you know, in some instances it could be fully autonomous and with the business, yeah. and in others it goes to procurement.
Yeah, typically threshold and then category geography based as well. Yeah, what we normally find is if you've got suppliers that you already work with for a low value, if they follow the rules, then they can do it self-serve. So I'll send that invite out and then I'll jump ahead to a project where I've already got the responses. So this is the point where the suppliers have come to the platform. They might have asked questions, in which case you can clarify them in the conversation space. You can track where you are on the homepage, and then you can review the proposals that come back. So Glow does the first level analysis on all the proposals and summarizes it on the platform. So you can see what are the delivery timelines, what are the total price, including the breakdowns, and then the details within that. For complex pricing, I recommend using the pricing templates. If we just open that up, what you'll see is it breaks down the line item level detail and summarizes it, so you can see exactly how they were on each of the rate card line items, how competitive they were, the ranking, and you can use that to have a real detailed negotiation of the unbundled pricing. And then in the summary, it's got notes in terms of what are the man hours comparison, what's the structure in terms of junior versus senior resources, offshore versus onshore, essentially a script of what, these are the ways to negotiate with them, and then the overall summary as to how competitive they are. So I would think of this as having a procurement consultancy analyzing the cost base of every single tender that you run instantaneously within Glow, which is something that most of our clients you haven't got the resource to do.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm wondering, as we show these supplier responses, like, can you talk to the supplier experience, right? Like, are they able to download everything to Excel and work in their tool of choice, right, and upload it back, or do they have to stay in the tool? How does that work?
Certainly for the pricing, they can download to Excel and complete themselves. That's how I find they most commonly want to do it.
Yeah.
We do also have a standardized bit of their response on the platform, and I'm showing you the comparison view of that now. So what are the timelines that they're going to respond to? Of the questionnaires that you gave them, how did they respond to those questionnaires? So there is an element of completing it on platform. And part of the reason for that is we want to make it as easy as possible for you to compare by having Glow run that comparison for you. So the old job for procurement of taking in PowerPoints and Excels and standardizing, normalizing, getting them into a view you can compare is replaced by Glow doing that on platform. So they have a very easy form to fill out that they can just log in, complete as part of the supplier experience. Behind that comparison view, you've got the detail of where you are. If you want to negotiate with them, you just move through different versions. So it's all held in one place. You can assess them on platform as well. So do your adjudication, your assessment, how they do. And then, of course, you've got the negotiation. You can either do a spot negotiation with them, or you can use the e-negotiation functionality, which can share relative rank, difference from the lowest bid, and creates the comms for you automatically to go out to them. So we have clients where they enforce that a business user has to go for at least one round of this without any involvement from procurement, because Glow sets up the comms, Glow sends it out as well. Makes it really easy for anyone in your organization to go through a negotiation. And the other thing people often use this for is running auctions as well.
So actually, you could run auctions on the platform as well?
Yeah. So we'll have clients running auctions on there as well, using a similar kind of functionality to that e-negotiation.
Yeah, and I like that, right? Giving templates around, like, because you talked earlier about negotiation strategies, coaching essentially based on an algorithm or best practice that you've developed, right?
Yeah, exactly. What we're trying to do is make a good procurement process accessible and easy for everyone to do, right? So guiding them through that approach.
And as you're showing it, for me, it's for complex sourcing as well, right? Like the price sheets are pretty extensive there.
I think the most common, the largest bids we do are kind of $1 billion tenders, right? But it goes right through to competing $700 printing tenders as well. So the experience that you see flexes based on the complexity of what you're buying. You can launch a tender in 3 or 4 minutes for a short print piece, or you can have a conversation with Glow for 45 minutes about how to set up a CRM migration project. And you use the AI, how it's helpful, and it flexes to your requirements as well.
Very cool.
From that point, you then assess the providers and move through to an award. That's typically where we will integrate downstream as well. So you get a really easy assessment tool on platform that you can use. I would encourage you to get business users on there as well. It's really easy to do, and holds on to that information as well. Once you've rated them, you see the ratings of your colleagues. makes it really easy to see where they stack up and how well they're doing. From that point, where you're going to an award, the award flow is entirely customizable. So whatever you need to put in there, we will do. Typically, we're either generating an SOW or creating a PR in the downstream system, or a combination of the two. That's where the Globality journey ends, is down into that PR. So we'll create that and populate that automatically. And then we do capture supplier feedback on how they did the work as well, which feeds back into our matching, but also you get to analyze it and collect that yourself. So there's a load of feedback captured on platform, but typically, we'll end the journey at the point where you make that award.
Very cool. And thanks for sharing. Like, to me, I had a couple ideas of where this might go, and to be quite honest, like, you took it in a completely other direction. But I see a lot of value in being able, especially for those really complex projects, right, to chat, so to speak, or brainstorm with Glow, and being able to make sure you don't miss anything, miss any big things, and do it quite quickly as well, right? To have worked on complex RFPs from both sides in the past, I see how we went through that journey relatively quickly together. So very cool.
Yeah. I think that's sorry, go
ahead. Sorry, Paul.
I'll just, while you move up to over, I think that's one of the benefits of what we've got, is the category expertise, right, is unique, and offers a lot of value in scoping. For the simpler RFXs, what we often find is we're moving something that happens in email into the platform so that you can do your negotiation and get your data analytics. It's all about making it as easy as possible. But for those complex things, thinking about the scope is obviously key to helping with the cost reduction. Absolutely.
And it's where small problems or small things that were missed can become big issues down the line, right? For those complex projects. So very key to being successful. So yeah, let's move on to the market map, right? I bring this up every week with every provider for folks that are watching, right? So we have the complete value chain from spend analysis all the way to accounts payable, right? So your strategic procurement and your purchasing. And then in the middle, we have the new intake orchestration layer. That's not new, but new for procurement, right? It's been around for a long time, but it's all the rage these days. And then in the bottom layer, supplier relationship management. And what I asked Paul to do before we got on the show here was to just highlight, where does Globality play on this whole journey? I'm sure that you've guessed that by now. So really, the sourcing functionality. I saw a bit of elements of category management there, or at least support to category management based on events, right, where it can sharpen your thinking. I know it's not specifically designed for that. But you also mentioned like the intake functionality, right? So I don't know if you want to expand on the scope of the solution, where you're going from a roadmap perspective, like if there's any partnerships you want to highlight from a downstream standpoint. But I'd love to hear more about where Globality is going and where it fits into the global landscape for a procurement organization.
Yeah, certainly sourcing is where we all started, and it's where we feel we're the experts, and we feel we offer the most value. So yeah, absolutely, anything that needs to be sourced should be sourced on Globality. I would agree with you on category management. My view is, if you're making a category strategy, it should be based off the data, and Glow allows you access to a whole host of data that you never had before, in terms of your behavior, about how you're sourcing, how you're engaging with suppliers, what the feedback was, and then it allows you to operationalize that strategy in terms of the rules and how it's applied by Glow. So Glow becomes the person who outlines that and guides the user through it. So we can certainly help with both setting the strategy and operationalizing it. And then intake, we work with some of the big intake vendors in the market, some of our clients as well, to guide people towards Globality. But we also have clients who use Globality as the intake once the users got to the point of saying, okay, it's not in a catalog. How do I buy it? Where do I go? Who from procurement do I talk to? Glow can guide them through all of those things. So I would definitely say for any sourcing need, we could be the intake element as well. Downstream, we integrate with all of the big P2P vendors as well. So that's very common for us.
And does that come with like standard integrations, or I guess you've done it for all the big ones, so you have them now?
Yeah, we've done enough of them now. So it comes with a whole set of open APIs to create projects in Globality, to take the reporting content from Globality and put it into your data visualization tool, to create PRs, etc. We also have a whole host of webhooks as well. So yes, we're quite seasoned now in fully integrating both at the front and the back end, and have a set of standard connectors as well.
Very cool. Because as folks who watch the show know, like I always say, like integration is the name of the game, right? It's usually where your project's gonna hit the pavement, and you're gonna see if you're successful or not, especially with more transactional systems. But it's good to see that it's something that you have experience on. So thanks so much for coming on the show, Paul. It's very appreciated. I know we were both. It was both a busy week, and we made it happen. So I appreciate that. Where can people find Globality, find you, and keep in touch?
Yeah, so globality.com is the website for getting in touch with us. I'm on LinkedIn under Paul Fox. I've got Paul.Fox at globality.com as well is my email address. If people want to contact us, please feel free to. Yeah, I look forward to chatting to people about the solution.
Beautiful, beautiful. So thanks so much for coming on again, Paul. For everybody watching, if you want to follow the road to the ProcureTech Cup, you can subscribe to the Pure Procurement newsletter, and you have it up on here, newsletter.pureprocurement.ca. You can put /subscribe on there, and it'll get you to that page. And we put all the replays, all the demos that come to light week to week on the journey to the ProcureTech Cup. So thanks so much again, Paul, for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.